Ladies and gentlemen, you already know what it is. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Sumedh Chatterjee. I'm a flow state specialist. So I help you feel your best and perform your best, tap you into the zone. You see, there's one thing that you gotta understand about me. I'm not some kind of YouTube motivator. I'm a YouTube maintenance person. I help you sustain that state of mind. I'm a lifestylist. Understand that flow state is very temporary. It goes away like that, and we need 15 minutes to at least tap into the zone. But what if we could reprogram our minds so we live more of an elevated, evolved, and flow state lifestyle? That's what I want for you. Not the quick fix, not the band-aid solution, but you becoming a pleasure alchemist. Finally deciding that I can deal with this. So yesterday was Shiva Ratri. This is the celebration of Shiva and his wedding, merging with Shiva and Shakti, basically, Parvati, right? What I noticed is I was just chanting all day, okay? I was chanting Om Namah Shivaya like all day. Even on moments where I was like in autopilot, I felt that need to chant, okay? And I looped it during the night. I did some very interesting sex magic ritual in the night where I think I manifested a new possibility in my life. A new gateway is opened up, a new portal is opened up for us. And so I'm coming to you today from this energy, from this frequency, where I understand what I need to do next because I'm being challenged to show up more. All the deities that I work with, all the intelligences of the universe are pushing me. My guides are pushing me towards being a walking embodiment of flow state and truly becoming that. And that's got to start with me and getting rid of bad habits like eating junk food or not sleeping enough. Okay, these are the two things that I really need to focus on right now. Of course, I've started back with MMA training. From March, it will be very intense. And so I've got to find a way to emotionally feel into my future. And this is what I want to talk to you guys today about this process called mental rehearsal. Quite similar to visualization. However, I think that there are some nuances here, and these nuances come from Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's one of those people that I think blend science and spirituality very well. And so I have the deepest gratitude to understanding that and understanding that world. One of my friends, Jackson, he's went to a Dr. Joe retreat once. And a lot of people speak about his retreats like they're these transformative experiences, right? All based on the science of heart coherence. So I want to speak to you guys how to go from this reaction-based mind or reactivity to proactivity to start getting momentum back in your life again. I almost want you to imagine that you're installing a new voice into your program, and that's the voice of your most energized, optimal, inspired self. It's the coach in your mind. It's the one that goes, bro, one more rep. You got this. Or it's the one that pushes you a little bit further. It keeps you on edge, but a good edge, right? Not a panic edge. Anything we want, we've got to understand it's our intention and our attention that makes it happen. So if we want a better body, we've got to focus on that. We can't focus on having a bad body because then we're focusing on what we have now and the lack. So we've got to rehearse what it feels like once we finally have that good body, have those finances, have that state of quality of life. What would you feel? What are the feelings? What are the emotions? Some people don't want to hear the truth. They just want to be rocked and spiked emotionally. Why? Because most people are addicted to these negative emotions. They're overdosing on these negative emotions, and we call them bliss junkies. Okay, instead of transmuting the guilt, the shame, the anger into bliss, you're bypassing that by finding things in the external world that'll make you feel the same. They'll make you try to feel bliss. And the material world cannot make you really attempt to feel bliss. I mean, it can amplify, it can be a supporter for it for sure. It can amplify certain situations, but it's not the origin point. The origin point is internal, to change the lens in which you see this thing. The paradigm shifts when the perspective shifts. I like the definition of love from Dr. Joe Dispenza, which he says is unity consciousness, or this wholeness, this integration. It says that the opposite of fear is not love. Fear is simply the separation from love, from unity, from source. So once we look at this mental model that he's given us, we can understand that these autopilot, survival center, sympathetic responses of this rage or this frustration or this sadness or this deep guilt or grief that we're feeling is actually making us very, very sick, right? Our physical body is getting sick, our minds are getting sick. In terms of relationships, we've always asked the question, would you date yourself? Would you date you? The same thing you can ask for business. Would you buy from you? Would you trust yourself to be your own personal trainer and your own health coach? This is a process of remembering the future. Momento futurum, as I learned from Janos, one of my deities, guides. Your emotion is ahead of the experience. So in Dr. Joe Dispenza's words, he says to teach your body the emotions of your future. If your body's conditioned into the future, what would you feel like? So whenever you get this reaction, you want to put a hand over your heart. This helps because it releases oxytocin. Now, the cool thing about oxytocin is it goes into the fear center, the amygdala, the limbic system, and it kind of shuts the lights off on fear, guilt, shame, all these emotions, okay? You feel reactive, just take a few deep breaths, hand over your heart. And then what do? You condition the future. What would you rather feel? It doesn't mean that I don't feel emotions. It doesn't mean I suppress my emotions. It doesn't mean I don't acknowledge my negative emotions. Of course, I'm letting them be there. I'm processing through them though. And I'm not latching onto it. It's like, how long are you thinking of the negative momentum and the memory? Most people feel the sense of lack after their breakup is because they've been compromising. They've been changing in a way to keep the relationship safe. But once you can get to this point where I feel good with me, I feel good with this other person. Now there's no more this weird attachment thing happening. I'm fine with them, I'm fine without them. But that we're connected. If I'm in a relationship at any point in my life and that person isn't supporting my mission, or, there's a separation, right? A fear taking over rather than the love of unity. Hey, we gotta go our separate ways. But you gotta tell the truth. Hey, guess what? This isn't really working out for me. That feeling, that spark that we had once isn't really there. And then you work through it. But if you hold it in, and if you keep pressurizing like a pressure cooker, right? It's gonna pop out at some time that is very inappropriate and unexpected. It's gonna be very unpredictable and surprising to you. And that shock or that trauma is gonna cause you more trauma. We don't really want to experience these mystical or altered states of mind or altered states of consciousness. Okay, you're not trying to be like a person tripping on psychedelics all day, right? You want to be optimal. You want to be functional in life. You're not doing mental gymnastics in the ayahuasca forests, right? You're doing internal work in the now. What the mystical state provides is wholeness. This understanding that there's something peering through the edge. There's some lightning bolt of source energy coming through. There's some gamma spike, right? This elevation of emotion. And I love how Dr. Joe Dispenza, he describes the brainwave patterns, right? Alpha being the state of creation, he says, almost like a clap. And if other people clap around us, right? If the whole crowd is doing that, there's coherence. That's why it's easier in events to transform, because there's more energy there to transmute. Other people are having breakthroughs around you. Okay? This is alpha. A little bit slower is theta. Okay? But gamma is beyond beta, high beta. But it's so high that it's bliss, it's ecstasy. There's no other way to describe it, because these advanced meditators are these monks whose brains are in gamma states, or these channelers whose brains are in gamma states. They're experiencing this thunderbolt, this vajra, which we follow the Vajrayana path on our mystical journey. is taking over. And the Vajra is our thoughts. Our thoughts are electrical, and our feelings are emotional or magnetic. So the mental body and the emotional body are the yin and yang internally. Thoughts create feelings, feelings create thoughts. Thoughts create feelings, feelings create thoughts, right? And then, of course, we're taking action based on those things. So Dr. Joe Dispenza says that thoughts are the language of the brain, and feelings are the language of the body. So this gamma wave of that kind of fast orderliness and coherence, there's no other word for it rather than bliss. So you're priming yourself to be in love with you. You're priming yourself to be here now. You're priming yourself to be in the zone, to be in flow state. This is why you prime yourself at the start of each day and at the end of each day, because that's the time where your mind is like a sponge. So let's say you're competing for something, right? You imagine yourself. So let's say you're a wrestler competing for something, right? You imagine your walk-on song. You mentally rehearse that. You notice the audience reacting to you. Okay, maybe there are a few boos. Maybe there's lots of support. You mentally visualize, and you do this enough times where the mind and the feelings connect, and you're remembering the future. You're going, that's what it's like. That's what it's like to love myself. That's what it's like to fully feel at one with myself and not fragmented. So when you're being reactive, all you're doing is simply take a few deep breaths, in through the nose, out through the nose. And then remind yourself, what is the future that I'm creating? What would I rather feel than this? What is loving about this moment? How can I piece this all together? We want that wholeness, which is what a mystical state provides. So don't separate yourself from this thing connecting you to everything else. Once you can accept that, you can be that. But what are we doing? We're in a sleepy, trance-like zombie state, and we're watching these TV shows or movies that are programming us. We're being programmed into a fear state. That's what's happening in culture. Why? Because they want you not to have your power back. They want you to go on a shopping spree. They want you to start binge eating their product. They want to keep you in this mild bad trip. But if you have a good intention and an attention towards what you want to create, what you actually desire and you want to create, and focus on that, not what you don't want to create, that shift happens instantaneously. Just by you getting conscious again. Remember, what sinks in the brain links in the brain. So you got to embed it deep into your subconscious. So the next time that you're in this reactive state, you've already mentally rehearsed it, what you're going to be doing. Try and put yourself into this scenario, right, mentally, where you're in public and suddenly your partner starts fighting with you. How would you handle that situation? How would you... So first of all, you might already have your heartbeat going bum, 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 right? Now you need to know how to regulate that. Get yourself from a high beta stress into closing your eyes into an alpha. Okay, closing your eyes already gets you into alpha a little bit, but now we need to regulate it through our breathing, getting ourselves back to a baseline, an equilibrium where we have more harmony. We're harmonizing. The electromagnetism, or the torus field that we're sending out, is broadcasting that we have that reality already. Our brain waves carry information. So we're getting into alpha. It's telling the brain that, oh, this person is very relaxed. They can handle it. Now, in the future, when that does happen, you're already going to have this second nature response to it, which is going to be so calm and casual and cool. And people will be like, how is he so unreactive? Well, I've mentally rehearsed it, my friends. I've drilled that thing so many times that I've become unreactive. So I hope this video helps you out today. Have an incredible day. If you need my help, obviously, shoot me a message. Let's get it today. Upward Spiral Gang. May we never be the same again. Let's go. Us.